You are on.
Alrighty, good morning, everyone. On behalf of Superintendent Hoffmeister and the Oklahoma State Department of Education, I would like to welcome you to the FY21 non-public school kickoff meeting. My name is Naomi Ward, and I'm a program specialist and the state ombudsman in the Office of Federal Programs. Here is our agenda for today and some of the topics that we're going to be covering. Okay, so today we're going to get started with what can the non-public schools participate in through federal programs. So non-public schools are eligible to participate in Title I Part A, Title I Part C, Title II Part A, Title III Part A, Title IV Part A, and Title IV Part B. So what are equitable services? Equitable services means that the services that are being provided for non-public schools should be equivalent to those services that are being provided to the public schools. The services and our programs should also be provided in a timely manner. Now we're going to go over some of the roles of the LEA in providing equitable services to the non-public schools. The LEAs are responsible for conducting and documenting timely and meaningful consultation. The LEA should try to make attempts to reach agreements with the non-public schools. The LEA will also determine the proportional share of funds for the non-public schools. The LEA should provide services that meet the needs of the eligible non-public students in school. The LEA should also be assessing the services that are being provided. The LEA shall also, in conjunction with the non-public school, make attempts to obligate funds in the year in which they are received. The following are some consultation topics that should be discussed with the non-public schools. The services that are going to be offered, the amount of funds that are available to them, the delivery of the services, here are some additional topics. We have the assessment of services, providing a timeline of the services, uses of the funds under the different programs. LEA should also provide non-public school officials with clear deadlines and due dates for information necessary to provide programs and services, which will aid in the obligation of funds within the fiscal year. Okay, now we're going to go over some of the responsibilities of the non-public school. Non-public school officials should be willing to participate in consultation in a timely manner. They shall assist the LEA in obtaining the information necessary to provide equitable services. They should participate in program and service assessments. It's essential for non-public school officials to maintain open, clear, and ongoing communication with their LEAs and meeting their deadlines that are set by the LEAs for services and programs. Now we're going to be moving on to consultation. Consultation should be ongoing throughout the year. Consultation should be timely, it should be meaningful, and consultation should also occur prior to the LEA making any decisions that may affect the non-public school. Here we have some possible consultation topics. They can include identifying the needs of the children, what services may be offered, assessing the services, determining the size and scope of the services, potential third-party providers, whether the public agency shall provide services directly or through a separate government agency, consortium, entity, or third-party contractor, and also the pooling of funds. The consultation may also include low-income data matching, poverty data, assessment of the previous year's programs and services, possible professional development opportunities for the non-public schools, and parental involvement activities as well. Designing activities that the LEA will implement for the next school year, completion of reports, contract negotiations, ordering of materials, hiring of teachers. And as a reminder, consultation with the non-public schools should be completed for the next school year prior to the LEA submitting its Title I application to the SEA. Consultation can also include selecting Title I equitable services for students that are most at risk of failing, and finally, obtaining written affirmation from non-public school officials that timely and meaningful consultation has occurred. So this would be your equitable services packet that you submit. So I'd like to tell you to please remember that consultation is essential to providing equitable services for non-public schools. Consultation should be open. The goal should be to reach an agreement, and it should also be timely and ongoing. Here is some clarification regarding the district attendance area. So LEAs are required to serve all non-public schools within their district attendance area. But for Title I purposes only, students that reside within the district but attend a non-public school outside the district attendance area, the district in which the student resides is responsible for providing the Title I services for that student. So please keep in mind that the district in which the student attends is responsible for reaching out to the district in which the student resides prior to the equitable services packet due date. The district and not the non-public school should be responsible for reaching out to the district in which the student resides. Now we're going to move on to the non-public school allocations. Expenditures for non-public schools shall be equal to the proportion of funds allocated to participating public school attendance areas. The SEA receives the federal funding, then disperses it to the LEAs. The individual amounts for each non-public school should be made available by the LEA. So the Office of Federal Programs also posts the non-public school allocation amounts on our website as well, and you can find them on sde.ok.gov. It will be under Federal Programs and in the non-public school tab, and you'll find the total allocation amounts for the non-public schools by district. So now I'm going to be moving on to transferability. LEAs may transfer funds to other programs in order to better address state and local needs. LEAs may transfer from Title II Part A and Title IV Part A into one of the following programs: Title I Part A, Title I Part C, Title I Part B, Title II Part A, Title III Part A, Title IV Part A, and Title V Part B. Before the transfer of funds occurs, the LEA should consult with the non-public school. The LEA should also provide the non-public school equitable services under the program or programs to which and from which the funds are being transferred, based on the total amount of funds available after the transfer. So starting FY22, the equitable services will include a transferability form that must be submitted if an LEA transfers funds from one program to another, and if the transfer impacts or affects the non-public school. Here is a frequently asked question. May an LEA transfer only those funds that are to be used for equitable services to non-public school students or teachers? And the answer would be no. An LEA may not transfer funds to a particular program solely to provide equitable services for non-public school students or teachers. Rather, the LEA, after consulting with appropriate non-public school officials, must provide equitable services to non-public school students and teachers based on the rules of each program and the total amount of funds available to each program after transfer. Now we're going to be discussing non-public school carryover. The funds that are allocated to an LEA in non-public schools shall be obligated in the fiscal year the funds are received. So with that being said, there may be extenuating circumstances or other reasons that can cause an LEA to be unable to obligate the funds within that time frame. So in the case that there is carryover, where does that non-public school carryover go? Title I, if there were no extenuating circumstances, the carryover would go to the non-public school share of funds. All other title programs, if there are no extenuating circumstances, the carryover would go to the LEA share of funds. In both, if there are extenuating circumstances, the carryover would go back to the non-public school that the carryover initially came from. Now we're going to go over extenuating circumstances and what might constitute as an extenuating circumstance. So here is an example. An LEA uses a third-party contractor to provide Title I equitable services, and the invoiced amount for the services in one of the private schools is $1,000 less than anticipated. Because this occurs late in the summer, the LEA is unable to responsibly obligate the funds prior to the end of the federal fiscal year. The LEA, in consultation with the non-public school officials, must use these funds the following year to provide equitable services to students in the affected non-public school. If, however, though, after consultation, the non-public school officials decline the services, the LEA must add the funds to the proportional share available for equitable services to other participating non-public schools. If there are no participating non-public schools, then the funds may be used to provide Title I services in public schools. Now we're going to move on to some eligible activities for the non-public schools. So starting with Title I, here are some eligible activities that the non-public schools may participate in under Title I. So we have materials, books, tutoring services for eligible Title I students, summer and Saturday school programs, here are some additional activities: computer assistance instruction programs, family literacy programs, and PD for teachers. Under Title II, professional development can include improving knowledge of teachers, principals, and other educational personnel, training in effectively integrating technology into curricula and instruction, some additional professional development might include training in English proficiency, training in data and assessments to improve instruction and student outcomes. So under Title II, the following staff may be able to attend the professional development. This would include core curriculum teachers, fine arts, foreign language, technology teachers, assistant principals, superintendents, and non-public school headmasters. Now under Title III, here are some examples of eligible activities. We have certification tests, conferences, professional development software, leadership development. For Title IV, Part A, we have consultants, contracted individuals, student identification badges, mental health professionals, professional development that is related to suicide prevention, trauma, human trafficking, violence, abuse, and a new resource officer to foster safe, drug-free environments. If there are disagreements or issues, does the non-public school have a right to file a complaint? And the answer would be yes, they do have the right to file a complaint. So some examples of why a non-public school might file a complaint is if they believe that timely and meaningful consultation did not occur, they believe that the district did not give due consideration to the views of the non-public school officials, or because the funds generated or services provided were not equitable to those being provided at the public school. The LEA should follow the district's complaint procedures if a non-public school issue were to arise and they were to file a complaint. The final decision in regards to services and activities does lie with the LEA though. All right, so now I'm going to open it up for any questions that you all may have. Okay, so when offering services, should the private school use low-income student count information as in the Title IV participation? Okay, so I'm assuming this is, it's in regards to the CARES Act, is that correct? while I wait for her to respond, I'm going to see if anybody else has any other questions.
Let's see, Naomi, this is Gary Hurst. You had one question about the PowerPoint. Whoops, I just saw another one pop up. So you might tell them where that might be posted later.
Yes, that should be posted on the website, hopefully by the end of the week, if not by early next week. Okay, that sounds good, Linda. I'm going to wait a little bit to see if you guys have any more questions. I'm going to post my contact information here. All right, well, if there are no more questions this morning, I'd like to thank you guys for your time today. Please feel free to contact me with any questions, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you.